Hello and welcome back. I'm Alvin of Alvin Inc. and these are the stories within the stories, the Villager's Tales. Today I will be sharing Chapter 7 of the Villager's Tales, Wendy's Recruitment. Cold and drenched from head to toe, I was making my way to say goodbye to Flora. It was her last day on the island and I wanted to send her off with kindness and warmth. I ran into Stitches on the way, and he did what he could to help cheer me up, think of rainbows and other happy thoughts. It was a kind gesture, but the feelings of sadness still persisted. As I entered into Flora's house, I was a little surprised to see that she hadn't even started packing yet. There was a stillness in the air. She tried to break it by being her usual peppy self, but today I just didn't feel the same. She asked that I not forget about her after she takes off into the wind and heads into her next endeavor. I smiled and promised that I wouldn't. Turning to leave, all I could think about were the happy memories, and that they were far too few. Flora lived in StoryBrook for only a short time, but her spark left an everlasting impression that my heart will always remember. I started off the next day by heading to check on the construction of StoryBrook's able sister's shop. When I spoke with Mabel about her request for the shop's location, all she asked was that the shop be built on beachfront property. She said that the salty sea air reminds her of her childhood, so I made sure to find them a good spot right on the beach for their shop. Eager to continue working on Project K, I headed over to the Resident Services building to pick up some Nook Mile tickets. I wanted to get started on the island recruitment task that Mr. Nook had asked me. Mr. Nook wanted me to keep the island growing in a diverse manner, and since Flora had such a light, peppy spirit, I was determined to find another starry-eyed villager with passion and drive to achieve stardom. I started off with only 4 Nook Mile tickets in the hopes that I would get lucky and find a whimsical villager to recruit to the island quickly. I then headed over to the airport to fly with Dodo Air for my recruitment effort. Speaking with Orville, he made sure that I had all of the necessary belongings, and then he called the pilot Wilbur to verify that the plane was ready for takeoff. Once everything was all squared away, off we flew into the great big blue, cloud-blanketed sky. After nailing the water landing, Wilbur checked in with me to make sure that I knew if I needed any help or support, he was there to help, and then he sent me off to start on the island recruitment. I met a rather cranky individual named Rooney. He seemed nice enough, but he definitely had a harshness about him that didn't quite fit the bill for the starry-eyed, peppy energy that I was looking to recruit for StoryBrook. After we finished our chat, I took off with a heart hopeful that I'd have better luck on the next island. Landing on the next island, I took off to see who I'd find. I came across an adorable individual named Chester. He had a great personality, but sadly he seemed a bit more lackadaisical in personality than what Mr. Nook had sent me off looking to find. So Chester and I parted ways, and I went back to meet with Wilbur to head off to the next island. Racing along the dock of the next island, I felt a surge of excitement. I had a good feeling about this next individual. When I spoke with them, I learned that her name was Scala, and she had a really kind personality, but she still seemed to lack that starry-eyed excitement that Mr. Nook requested for the island. So it was with a heavy heart that I decided to push on and see if ticket number 4, my last ticket, would be the lucky one. My excitement carried me along the dock in a whimsical fashion. Navigating between the bamboo stalks, I caught sight of a bright and colorful individual. She introduced herself as Wendy, and from the moment she spoke, I could tell that she had that starlight quality that was desperately needed back on StoryBrook. After mulling over the decision, I decided to talk with Wendy again. She spoke about wanting to find a calm, relaxing place to call home and work on building her unique brand of fame. Ecstatic that she was looking for a place to settle in, and confident that StoryBrook could offer her all that she wanted and more, I extended the invitation for her to move. She was so filled with glee, she was practically singing her excitement. She agreed to move, and after she had finalized all of the arrangements with a call to Mr. Nook, I decided to depart and let her get ready and packed for her move. After returning back to StoryBrook, I offered my thanks to both Wilbur and Orville, and then headed out to verify that everything had been properly taken care of for Wendy's arrival. Checking on her plot, I was thrilled to see that everything had gone through and that the space for her new home was ready and awaiting her arrival. After such a long day of flying and recruitment work, I decided to head home and rest up for the next day. Next morning, Isabel read off her announcements. It felt wonderful to hear that Wendy had arrived and had been welcomed into the StoryBrook family. It was also nice to hear that the Able Sisters shop had finally opened up. This was a great start to the day, and I was feeling extraordinarily jubilant and excited to get out and experience it. I decided to first check in on Wendy and make sure that she was settling in and getting unpacked all right. Wendy had such a vibrant spirit and seemed incredibly pleased with the location of her house on the island. Everything was still in boxes, but even so, she had a really beautiful interior with this wintry wallpaper. It was nice to get a better glimpse at what her personality and tastes were like. Though, despite her positive demeanor, I could tell that there was still some underlying stress about having to get unpacked. After having had a solid chance to check in with her, I thought it was best to leave her to her unpacking, and I headed over to check out on the new clothing store. Stepping inside the shop, I was immediately greeted by Mabel, who was so grateful for the shop's location, which I had picked out for them. She also gave me a quick tour of the shop, running through all the features and how everything was displayed and worked. I went to check in with Sable and see how she was doing, but she seemed to have her hands busy with her work and didn't have much time to chat. Then I headed over to the fitting room to try on some of their beautifully handcrafted clothes. I quickly found a new outfit that I enjoyed and decided to buy it. Mabel was kind and said that she loved the way the outfit looked, and she asked that if I have the time, I add some additional decor around the shop to really help draw in some new customers. I agreed to help and got started right away. Mabel seemed to have a fun, light personality, so I wanted to add some light-colored fun items around the shop. I also thought about Wendy and got inspired by her colorful personality. I decided to try to intermingle an array of calm, soft colors with just a splash of vibrant, fun colors to really help the Able Sisters shop stand out on the island. I was really glad to see how the area around the shop was coming along, but I was starting to feel exhausted and decided to take a break for the day. Later that evening, I wanted to check in on Wendy and see how she was settling in. She was busy bustling about cleaning. There was an air of tension in the room as she puttered around, stress oozing off her. She said that she wanted to be finished with unpacking and decorating her house, but that it was taking longer than she had anticipated. I wanted to give her some space, so I headed out and let her be. As I headed out, I noticed that Tia was sitting nearby. Speaking with her, she reminded me of the bug-off that was scheduled for this upcoming Saturday. She said that she had been studying up on the best bug-catching techniques, and then we wished each other well and said our goodbyes. The next morning started off with a celebration. Everyone on the island had gotten together to cheer on Mabel and Sable and to share in the excitement of finally having a clothing shop on StoryBrook. Tears were practically gushing out of the sisters' eyes because of how grateful they were to everyone who welcomed them and offered them their support. Mabel and Sable encouraged everyone to stop by and check out their merchandise. The whole island was ecstatic to do so. After the celebration had concluded, I headed off to visit with Wendy and get to know her a little bit better. When I got to her place, the sweet aroma of the nearby fruit trees was wafting through the air. The sun was shining bright and warm, and when I saw that Wendy was already out and about enjoying the day, I couldn't help but to smile. She was doing yoga and looked so happy and at peace with everything around her. It appeared that she had managed to really settle into her life on the island and was already developing her own set of new routines. I decided it was best to let her be, and then headed off to explore the island for the day. During my exploration, I noticed that a familiar boat had anchored itself at the northern beach. I made my way down the cliffs and into the boat. Red immediately greeted me and asked me to look around and check out his wares. I was instantly drawn to a gorgeous statue that he had displayed called the Valiant statue. Something looked a little bit off. It reminded me of a similar looking statue I saw at a museum once, but there was something that wasn't quite the same with this statue. Nevertheless, I just had to purchase it. I didn't have a clue yet where it was going to be displayed, but its enchanting beauty lulled me into this careless state, and all I remember thinking was, I simply have to have it. I then made my way off the boat and back up the cliffs, headed off towards home. On the way home, while passing by the museum, I noticed that Wendy was on her way out. I strolled over to her and asked her how her day was going. She opened up to me and shared her dream of becoming a world-renowned artist someday. The museum is chock full of gorgeous pieces of art that inspire her to practice her craft and to create her own pieces. She said that visualizing her artwork being displayed revitalizes her creative mind and inspires her to continue honing her skills and to work on becoming the very best artist that she can be. As she spoke about how inspired and passionate she felt, I could feel her positive energy surging through me too. It was clear that she felt truly at home here on StoryBrook, and I felt a comfort in knowing of the comfort she had found for herself here. Thank you for joining me today for Chapter 7 of The Villager's Tales, Wendy's Recruitment. It was a difficult endeavor trying to find the right individual to recruit and invite back to live on StoryBrook, but I am so glad to have found Wendy. Her energy has been so positive and uplifting throughout pretty much this entire experience, and I can honestly say that her moving here has made a lasting impact on the island. If you'd like to learn more about Wendy's experience with moving to StoryBrook, then please make sure to follow the link in the description box below to read her diary entry. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, remember to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.